What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Man Cave experience with with myself, Cedric, Edison, and my boy, my homie, my that's my everything, man, my friend Ron Serven.
Woo!
Hey man, we want to thank you guys for tuning in, for the returning listeners. Hey, we appreciate all the support. For the new listeners, hey, welcome to the Man Cave, where it's just two dudes hanging out, comfortable, just talking about what me and Mike talk about. And we like the subjects y'all sending in. We have bringing guests on. Man, hey, such a
Going
pleasure.
live. We're going live soon.
Oh yeah, hey, we are going live soon, huh? We're making some changes. So how are you today, Ron? What's going on?
Doing good. As I mentioned to you, just kind of nursing a little bit of a sore back, but it is what it is. Just kind of things are going well in my life overall. And I think I mentioned to you, just always trying to be that person that keeps balance in my life in mind. So, you listeners out there, I think, I know we've had other conversations about different topics, but, I think one thing that Cedric and I really kind of behind the scenes talk about, we obviously do this podcast. I am a father, Cedric's soon to be a father. We've got our careers, two different careers now. I've got multiple careers, one finishing up and one new one with health coaching and life coaching. Cedric's obviously got his current career and also his new moving into his new direction with the health coaching and life coaching. But the moral of my story is, and just for you listening in, just really pay attention to balance in your life and just try to make sure you're looking at all aspects of your life and nourishing all those areas that are important to you. But checking in good.
Nice. So, man, hey, you know what, Ron, man, I've been kind of thinking about something. Well, hey, really us, because, I had a session and it was, just how we met was kind of cool. And then how we reconnected, because I don't know if a lot of people know, our very, very first, I guess we could say, quote unquote, homework assignment we did together. But after that, it was kind of a break, and then we had Dallas coming up, and then we kind of reconnected, and I think we kind of saw each other. And now we have the show and all this stuff, man, and this, like, I was just thinking, like, holy shit, I really have a friend, And so I was just kind of wanting to talk about that tonight, man, just friendship.
Yeah, great topic.
Cool.
Yeah, well, I think when you mentioned that topic to me in conversation, I definitely thought of just the uniqueness of, where we are now in our life, and I think we haven't spent a lot of time, in each other's presence. I think when we did, that was awesome. But I think what's unique about our friendship that I really value is just that sense of the connection, just the honesty that we have with each other. I think it's not common for individuals, especially men, to early on in knowing each other to kind of sense that there's trust, that there's kind of that willingness to be yourself, that willingness to kind of be all of yourself and not feel like there's going to be any type of judgment. So I so value just, your willingness and our willingness to, in a short period of time, I think just to be able to create a bond that is so unique. And I think it's been from afar, and most of our, our connections have been on the phone or on this channel. But just what a special place that I already have in my heart for something that, again, I think, knowing in life in general, how many people out there have friends that they could say were lifelong friends, or friends that they could feel are there for them whenever they may need them. And I feel that. I mean, I know if I needed something from you and your support, it amazes me, because I think, it is such a short period of time. We've learned so much about each other, a lot through this podcast, but I think there's that deeper connection. I think more about, our spirituality and just kind of that uniqueness and that understanding of the oneness that we both, kind of gravitate to, that allows us to kind of let down our guards and be ourselves and feel that flow between the two of us.
Yeah, man, it's because man, honestly, every Tuesday when we do the show, how we met crossed my mind. It's like, man, that's pretty cool. And I hope every friendship is like this, because I'm relearning everything because we change. And it's like, man, already, like, you've kind of become a part of the why of my why. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, you know what? All these things, I want my freedom of my time because I really, really want to be able to come out to California. Hey, I want to go see my boy run, man. Let me go shoot out there. I can work from Cali. Like, what's up, man? Let's go do whatever. Like, let's go live. That type of stuff. So I'm like, it's pretty cool, man. And I think that's probably why it is, that oneness, we like minds and like attracts like. And so I really do think that was like God of the universe bringing us together, man. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's probably those out there who would say, oh, you guys are lucky that you found each other type thing. But I guess I'm more of the mindset that, luck is more where awareness meets opportunity. So, we obviously, the first time we ever talked was on the phone doing a skills lab together. It was with another gentleman, Richard Downing, who was in on that call as well. And it was just a fun, kind of engaging conversation and a quick, kind of allowance of ourselves to kind of share a lot about, ourselves in a very short period of time. And it was just, I think it was kind of a process that I wasn't used to in the past, to where, and for a couple of reasons. One, because I play small and I, wouldn't allow myself to necessarily, show those parts of myself that, didn't necessarily feel like I was accepted or I was good enough, some of my, struggles in life. But I felt, immediately that, kind of place that was safe, that place that was inviting, that place that was, very comfortable to be in. And I think, obviously you helped create that, those conditions for that experience. And I allowed myself to, let down my guard and be more of myself. And, through that, I think that's, been a big, kind of step forward in my life to really continue to be more engaged in other areas of my life. Because I think, I had nothing to lose. It was more of initially just, we've got to do these skills labs. We've got to practice, we're coaches, kind of more the process and how that evolved into this. And I think both you and I, Cedric, know in one way, shape, or form, this is going to continue, whether it's, seeing each other periodically or phone calls or, whatever it is, or just that connection from afar where we feel that, kind of that energy from each other, knowing that there's that, kind of that bigger space that we feel that connection in. And, and I haven't experienced, I have friends in my life that have come and gone, friends that I thought were good friends that, kind of, don't do those things that you would expect out of friends to be there when you need them. So it's a kind of a unique situation for me to kind of feel this friendship that we've built and the trust and the, just the beauty of two men, kind of being engaged in a conversation and growing ourselves to be better stewards of the world and leaders of the world and coaches in the world and fathers in the world, and how better our lives can be because of each other.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, man, people could probably learn a lot, like if they, got down to all the nuts and bolts, because I'm sitting thinking like, man, it's a lot of moving pieces to it, that allowed us to even let our guard down. because I think friendships do sometimes need to come and go. Because I'm thinking like, man, I know doggone well if I was still hanging around some of those quote unquote friends at the time, like it was no way I wouldn't even be where I'm at right now. I would be there. Like I probably never would have came into contact with BAC. So like sometimes we have to choose our friends too.
Yeah.
And I think some people miss opportunities. And like you said, man, oh yeah, you guys are lucky to be, and like you said, awareness. And for me, I say preparedness. You know, you got to be prepared for the opportunity, because if you're not prepared, you won't even know it's there and it'll just be gone. So you won't know if it's a genuine person that has no ill intent. It's just the love. Like, hey, you're a dude, I'm a dude, you're cool, I'm cool. All right, let's see what the hell's up. All right, let's rock it. Right. And just see where it goes.
Yeah, and I think what goes along with that is, you know, not the other side of the coin, but more of the willingness to, you know, hold each other to the fire. I mean, it's not just about, you know, rah, hey, great, bro, everything's going well, fantastic. But it's also about, you know, Cedric, get out of your freaking head. You know,
yeah, I can show some text.
Yeah, I mean, do the things you need to do to step forward. So it's not, you know, I think friendship, it has to be, you know, kind of all inclusive, you know, the good and the bad, and, you know, the willingness to, you know, kind of see, obviously the need to, you know, kind of at times, you know, step forward and to, you know, really take some actions yourself, or to, you know, give that support and create some sort of need for change in that friend. Because I think, you know, it's very easy to be, you know, that person that's always that, you know, kind of ray of sunshine that gives that friendship just always a, you know, nice colorful feel. But there's also, you know, what's going to happen when, you know, that person is down and out and they really need you? Is that a time where, you know, you play small and you don't know how to react, or you're worried about doing the wrong thing? I mean, that's when, you know, kind of the rubber hits the road, and you know, you have to kind of be willing to, you know, kind of go through that struggle with them, because I think that's something that not only helps that individual obviously in that moment, but, you know, it creates that bond to where, you know, that next opportunity or the next situation that I'm stuck in, I mean, it only gives that next opportunity even more, you know, kind of support to just say, you know what, why wouldn't I be there? You were there for me when I needed you, and I was going through the worst, you know, parts of my life, and you were there, not just as a, you know, not just as a rah friend, but also as a, you know, kind of a, you know, kick me in the ass and tell me to get off my, you know, get on my feet and get over myself. You know, that's an equal important part of being a good friend and being mindful to really create that, you know, long lasting relationship that's, you know, very, you know, encompassing of all the different experiences we have in our lives.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause I know you sent me some texts like, all right, I'm like, okay, let me get my shit together.
Well, we talked about this, you know, when we did the podcast on the superheroes about, you know, Smallville. You brought that up, and I hadn't really thought about, you know, me being, you know, kind of connected to Superman and you know, the whole idea of coming from Smallville, which, you know, that kind of exemplifies where I've lived in parts of my life, but, you know, kind of feel like maybe you were my neighbor down the street that I never met, kind of being in Smallville as well. So, you know, I think that's just, you know, a common thread again that runs through us that, you know, kind of allowed us to, you know, feel that deeper, you know, connection as friends to say, you know, I'm there too. You know, I'm struggling with you. I'm not, your journey is part of my journey, because maybe a little bit variation of it, but I'm going through some of the same challenges and same, you know, kind of things that you're feeling, and I'm learning from it as well. I mean, I'm helping you out, but it's also helping me to really step out of my own shadow and create that best experience of myself.
Yeah. Man, you know, something going through my head real quick, because I'm like, man, let's get dirty real quick. Because I was like, because we doing this, all of the social media stuff. We're in the world of social media right now, the times of it. And I don't know for you, but I know for me, a lot of times I can go down my timeline, and maybe I need to defriend some of these people, but it's kind of interesting just to kind of see where my community or city or people in my area are thinking. But you see it time and time again, these little quotes or somebody saying something about, I can't believe this friend did me wrong and this stuff. But I guess my question would be to you, because sometimes we have expectations. This is my friend, and I would expect you to help me in a time of need or just be there as a friend.
Mm-hmm.
But at what point do you cut the ties? And how do you choose friends, like when you're trying to make change?
Yeah. I think there has to be, obviously some give and take on both sides. I mean, I think if it's that, because I think it's not uncommon for in a friendship for there to be one person that is always the giver, and the other person's just always the receiver. So I think for me, a relationship has to have or should have, some sort of balance with where there's that willingness to kind of share roles, it's kind of like, a relationship with a man and a wife. I mean, there's times where you need to be a good listener, and there's other times where you need to be a good, communicator. And I think in a friendship, if I'm looking at people in my life, that have kind of come and gone, or long-term friendships that kind of fizzled out, there's a point where, my efforts, are far exceeding any type of return. And there's really no, I'm not getting any type of value from that friendship. And I try to be open to, that person's going through their own struggles, or they've got a busy life. I mean, I try to be, somewhat sympathetic to that, but there comes a point where, and we've talked about this in the coaching practices about, who's in my front row, who's going to be there regardless to cheer me on. And if I can really look at that individual and feel like they're going to be there regardless, then I think I'm willing to continue to put an effort into that. But if it's, if they're kind of their mind's elsewhere, and they're really not paying a whole lot of attention to the damages that they're causing by a lack of, return phone call, or, an email that just goes unreturned. I know they're seeing those. We all, kind of experience those posts or those emails or those, messages that we put out there that are unreturned. There comes a point where that, that person is just being selfish, I guess, to a certain extent. And, they're not doing their part to, at least, because how long does it take to do some sort of messaging? With this day and age, instant message, I don't buy I don't have time, I'm too busy. So I think it's even easier now to stay in contact, which some, has the pros and cons, to be able to keep connected. But what goes along with that is the lack of the one-on-one, that personal, being in the presence of somebody and actually experiencing somebody in person. I think there's so much loss of that. So I don't know if I answered your question.
Oh.
But
Yeah.
I feel like, I'm a horticulturist. So, I've got lots of, awesome plants in my yard. And there's lots of other cool plants out there that I could plant in my garden. But I feel like if I'm going to plant something else in my garden, you've got to earn your spot to stay in that garden. So kind of like friendship. I think if you're worthy of being in my life, and you're giving me some value, and you're allowing me to be, an integral part of your life, then there's a place for you in my life. If there's very little, kind of any type of return, I guess, to a certain extent. And I hate to say that, because I think, I like putting ripples out there, not expectations of the ripples coming back to me. But in a friendship, I think there is a need to have something more substantive to, kind of connect more so.
Man, man, I like how you put that, and being a horticulturist and stuff growing, because me, man, like it's I don't know, it may come across like it's kind of harsh,
Right.
but I really do believe it's from a very honest place.
Right.
Where now where I'm at in my life and this is a belief of mine is friendships evolve as you evolve. And, I'm like that. I like how you put it, the growing of things. So for me, I have to, in order for me to thrive, I have to look at the people that's around me. And I have to, in that sense, look to see who's a budding flower or who's a weed. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you can have that budding flower, but later on down the line, it dies, mm-hmm. and it can become a weed. So you always have to tend your garden. Right. And it seems like, well, man, you're just cutting people off. And I'm not saying that. It's almost like it's an ivy. An ivy is just going to grow. It can cut off and it could reconnect later on.
Right.
Not saying, hey, I'm going to play these people, but sometimes you got to take a piece of the plant, take it, put it in another pot, nurture it, bring it back up to health and bring it back. Right. Not saying, hey, you can still be a friend, but from a distance. And now that's when we're on that. I'll shoot you a text, checking on you. Hey, I haven't forgot about you. I still have love for you. But if you're in my close circle, you have to be growing with me. Right. Because other than that, we're just staying here. And that's, to right. me, to get to a goal where you're trying to get or to live your dream, you cannot stay in that same spot. Mm-hmm. It sounds harsh when you hear it, but I feel like that's a lot of realities for a lot of people.
Right. And it requires that nourishment, right? Because you can, again, getting back to the plant metaphor, I mean, you can plant something in the garden, and if you don't go out and cultivate it, you don't water it, you don't fertilize it, you don't give it light, all the things that are necessary for it to grow, it dies. So it's like where that energy flows is going to grow. So same with a friendship. I mean, if you don't, you can have like a, kind of like in the bank where you've done all these things at, maybe at an earlier stage of your life as friends that kind of builds a foundation that's easier to pull from. Maybe there's that, kind of ability to move past stages of our lives where that individual, is maybe going through, a different phase of their life, and we understand that. But there was a foundation of a solid friendship that was there at one time. I think that can lend itself to maybe picking that up, kind of your metaphor to that ivy that, starts growing again, that type of thing. But I think anything we plant or anything we create in our life, if we don't put any type of, or we don't give it any type of nourishment, we could expect it to not flourish. We're going to get out of it what we put into it. And in friendship, it takes, two different people to, create that inevitable success, right? And, the ability for that plant to thrive. Or it could be a spindly, weak little plant that doesn't grow because it's getting a little bit of attention. Same with a friendship. If you and I talk 3-4 times a year, our friendship is going to be much less value and a lot less connected versus us speaking on a weekly basis like we do. I mean, that's just the way it is, right?
Right. Yeah.
Now, I'm interested in you, Cedric. Did you have role models in your life that, kind of exemplified a friendship that you're like, wow, that's just, from afar, that's something that I'd really like to emulate in my life?
You want to know about now or then? Two totally different stories.
More than, I guess, any kind of influences in your life as you grow up to say, that's something that I learned from, good or bad, that was there or not there, that, kind of created that willingness or that experience that you're able to, see how connected people can be if they really put it for the effort.
Um, like when I look back, man, back then when I was coming up, yeah, it was around and I saw it, but that was so far from my mind. It was just like, oh, cool, man, y'all real tight. But I was tight with everybody, like this the hood, like y'all my people. So yeah, um, so I didn't really, I would just see somebody else and it's like, oh, okay, y'all good friends. And I saw, like my aunt and I saw my mom, with some really good friends and it was, kind of cool, but it never really computed like, oh, that's what I really want. I want friends like that. It wasn't until later on, that was maybe like, early years and teens. And then, by the time I was grown, I realized like some of my best friends in high school, we had lost connection. I was just like, damn, what happened? But at the same time, now I have my Marine Corps buddies, and then I'm out of the Corps and I'm like, shit, we were so tight. Like, what the hell happened? It was just a vicious cycle of revolving friends. And honestly, it was like I was the one that wasn't nourishing. But I see that now. But then it was just like, oh, I'm living life and so I never really latched onto it, honestly.
Right.
It wasn't until I started working on me when I realized, like, holy shit, like you had some true friends and now the relationship has changed. And it's some of them, it's been 20 years and we were like super tight. And now it's the friendship is there. We got the memories, but the everyday interaction is not there. And now it's like, okay, I have to put forth an effort. If I have your number, I'm making an effort. I don't give a damn if I got to put you on the calendar, call such and such, but that's what I have to do because, hell, I'm not getting any younger. I need friends. I need them, or I won't say need them, but I want them.
Right. Well, I think, this whole topic, Cedric, that we've been speaking about tonight, for me, again, I think I'm just kind of reflecting back on what this opportunity that we've created for ourselves. Obviously, we're doing this YouTube channel, which, is advancing, our connectiveness, talking about topics that we, kind of delved into. And I just so appreciate the time that you have, given to me to build this friendship, from afar, especially. And we've got an age difference, we've got a demographic difference, we've got, different life experiences, yet there's obviously something that has clicked in our hearts and in our minds that has allowed us to create this space, that I think has been a very, a great addition to my life. Your involvement with my son, the connections you've had with him. I can't wait for you to meet him someday. Just people that have listened into this channel and have seen our connection, and just the comments that we've heard about, how people have experienced us individually as well as us, doing this podcast. So I just, from the bottom of my heart, I guess this is kind of an interesting podcast because I think this is kind of where the whole thing started, right? I mean, we built this, kind of foundation of having these conversations on this channel and have some listeners that are listening in, and that's fantastic. But I guess what's more important to me, and just kind of in closing with you, just thank you for the friendship you've given to me, and I know this is still very young. As far as where it's going to continue to evolve towards. There's going to come a day where we're going to be like, God, remember when we were doing like podcast 14 on friendship? Now we're like meeting in this location to be joint speakers on stage, and we're, it's going to happen. I mean, I have no doubt in my mind that our willingness to, kind of keep this spark, very, very, full and kind of exploring all these opportunities to share who we are, share our words, share all these things that we're wanting to put out there. I just truly appreciate this opportunity to spend with you.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. Thank you, man. And I'm so humbled and grateful. I can't even explain it, man. It's just like a ride, like to be able to like share because I like, man, I know how it started. We just said how it started. And I like to go literally from nothing to a homework assignment to reconnecting, being roommates, going on stage. And in a million years, man, I would have bet a billion, all the money in the world, like, hey, man, you're gonna meet this, hey, you're gonna meet this old white dude, man. And he'll
Papa Ron!
and he'll coach, you're gonna meet Papa Ron in school, and then y'all gonna have this YouTube channel, and then y'all gonna be speaking on stage. I feel like, man, you crazy, man. Like, say, bro, put your money up, man. Like, I'm not betting that, man. Like, well, if you want to lose it, I'll take that bet, right? I would have lost. So it's like, wow, but it's so genuine, man. Because we can feel that there are no intentions except of possibility from the connection. It's just like, we're here, we're connected. Let's see. Let's just make sure we both keep each other in this flow. Mm-hmm. And that's all it is. And it's just, man, it's so, I don't know, I'm not that eloquent yet. So it's just like, man, such a good feeling. Such a good feeling, man. And like, I'm thankful that, God put us in each other's paths, because there's some big stuff coming. Some big stuff, man. And I thank you for allowing me in your space to be able to experience all of this with you, man. Like, for real, for real.
And then to you listeners, just, thank you for listening in. We really appreciate, your interest in what we have to say. Obviously, we've mentioned this on many, many occasions. We're just two normal guys decided to have a conversation on YouTube.
Right.
And, and it's going to be out there forever, right? We joked about our son someday listening to our podcast, and maybe they'll become subscribers someday, or maybe not, and maybe they'll like laugh at what we had to say, and maybe they won't. Maybe they'll become better men because of what we put out there. And if my son and Cedric's son were the only two subscribers to our channel,
I'm good. I'm good. Right.
So Cedric, I'm going to say peace out to you and namaste as always, and we will check you on the next time.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Appreciate y'all. And Ron, till next time, man. And y'all, namaste.